elections. Campaigns will be over and the baton will be firmly in the hands of the voters. Perhaps this reality has quickened the steps of the candidates, strengthened the resolve of the weary foot soldiers, and sharpened the antenna of the umpire. Now that the finish line is in sight. In terms of readiness, not all the boxes have been ticked even in the leading parties. In Taraba, one is still trying to get a name on the ballot for the governorship post. Today, we will learn what is to be or not to be. Also, on political update today, we will track the activities surrounding the elections, the campaign messages, as the people contemplate key choices. I am Fisayo Ogunfui. Welcome. Academics from federal universities are to be engaged as returning officers and coalition officers for the 2023 general elections after taking the oath of neutrality. INEC Chairman Professor Mahmoud Yakubu announced this in Abuja at a meeting with vice chancellors of federal universities.
A seasonal meeting of some sort, and the INEC Chairman Professor Mahmoud Yakubu in his own constituency, as it were, having an engagement with vice chancellors of federal universities to participate as returning officers for state elections and coalition officers at the presidential poll.
As in previous elections, we have requested each university for a specific number and category of academic staff as contained in my letter to the vice chancellors.
A national assignment that comes with a caveat.
I must warn that staff who are card-carrying members or have participated in partisan politics should not be nominated. Similarly, those who may not be involved in partisan politics but are known to have obvious political means should not be nominated. Furthermore, those who have been convicted of electoral malpractice must be excluded.
At the end of this exercise, we will be proud to have contributed our quota, and that is our commitment to the development of this country.
Deal sealed, being the INEC chairman, another exclusive responsibility awaits Mahmoud Yakubu.
There is only one returning officer as provided in the Constitution, a returning officer for the presidential election, and that person is Mahmoud Yakubu. So I thank you very much and God bless you.
God bless Nigeria also.
With the first of two key election weekends looming, the Election Management Body, INEC, civil society organizations, observers and youth groups are galvanizing action and consciousness against violence before, during and after the key dates. We have a report on one of such efforts.
All eyes on me, a popular line from a rap song. But in Nigeria today, it is all eyes on the forthcoming elections. Activities are at their peak. In the build-up to the elections, such as this gathering, a platform to brainstorm on ways of ensuring a peaceful and credible election. A gesture by the Vision in Leadership Development Initiative and National Council for Civil Society Organizations with focus on protection of critical national infrastructure. Comrade Johnny Emmanuel is the convener.
No nation can develop without the state of national infrastructure. And it's incumbent of us, the civil society and stakeholders, to make sure that we protect these national assets against vandalism and destruction. And I must say that I'm sending this message to the politicians, that during this election period, they must send their cause rights and do not vandalize the infrastructure.
One of the focus of the 5-point agenda of the NCC is to facilitate the provision of infrastructure for digital economy. This, we believe, will foster national development, inclusive growth, and economic prosperity.
The concern of management of NYSC is that every youth that has contact with NYSC will not just go dry the way they came into the service.
The event is to create awareness and ownership by the citizenry with a view to protecting public infrastructure and how civil society can be factored into collective security of national assets.
As we earlier stated in the opening, the vote has now become the bride, which every candidate is wooing with much care and attention. But Will it just be a weekend rendezvous or a positive relationship that will change the fortunes of the state in the next 4 years? Justice Ogwe joins us on the program. Justice is a public affairs analyst and pioneer head of the Delta Dynamic Grassroots Movement. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much.
As a young Nigerian, what are your expectations concerning the next few weeks, a date with destiny, as far as Nigerians are concerned?
Well, thank you. As a young Nigerian, one of my expectations is Nigerians should be very keen in voting the right candidates. This is a very critical time in Nigeria. We can see from a lot of things happening around. At this moment, I can say that the economic situation of the country is on a high decline. And we have to bring in or vote in a government that we put in the right policies to see that we can have economic growth.
All right, let's look at the messaging generally from the campaigns that you have seen as a young Nigerian and someone who is politically conscious. Are you excited by the messages from the podium? What would be your expectation as far as being a youth is concerned, and of course from the promises that you've heard from different campaign groups?
Yeah, I'm very, very excited about the everything going on right now. I'm very excited. But what I have to say is, let's base our analysis on the factual things that happen, like the factual track records. These candidates, they've held public offices in the past. What were their achievements? Factual track records, things that we can see, people can testify to. So I think that should be the basis on which we should build our next government.
All right, we'll be coming to, of course, to interrogate that in a few short moments, but let's look at the campaign trains, the messages as well. Now, the All Progressives Congress, APC, got a boost in Sokoto State ahead of the general election with new defectors, including some members of the opposition-led State Executive Council, joining the party. President Muhammadu Buhari led the Sokoto campaign for the Tinubu-Shettima candidacy.
The APC presidential campaign train landed in Sokoto, and keeping faith with their presidential candidate, the party loyalists thronged the Sokoto Township Stadium to welcome the campaign train led by President Muhammadu Buhari.
Let me assure that Sokoto State, as you have seen physically, is suddenly APC.
President Buhari urged party members and registered voters in the state to sustain their momentum and support Tinubu-Shettima to victory.
Wannan zuwan da na yi na rako ɗan takara ne na jam'iyya shine Ahmed Bola Tinubu. Jam'iyyar mu ita ta fidda shi ya yi takarar shugaban ƙasa. Za mu goyi bayan shi kuma da yarda Allah za mu ci nasara.
Bola Tinubu, your brother, your friend, is going to be our president from the 29th of May 2023.
They've seen it from the legislative point of view. They've seen it from the executive point of view. When they were serving in the legislature, they did abundantly well. When you now combine both executive and legislature, what you get, do get? Best governance in the history of Nigeria.
The party's presidential candidate said he is prepared for the task to take Nigeria to greater prosperity.
We promise we will work hard. We will eliminate corruption. We will drive away madness called kidnapping.
With a flock of decampees joining the party, APC says it is ready to bring the state into the fold of the progressives in the 2023 elections.
Meanwhile, the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Atiku Abubakar, says commerce will thrive again in Kano if he is elected president. He was addressing supporters at the Sani Abacha Stadium, Kano, in continuation of his tour of the country to canvass for support ahead of the general election.
It was the turn of Kano, one of the main commercial hubs in Nigeria, as the PDP presidential campaign train traversed the four corners of the country to solicit votes from electorate. The presidential candidate, Atiku Abubakar, told supporters that industries such as Kano textile, manufacturing, production of staple foods through commercial agriculture will help the state regain its high pedestal as in agro-processing and manufacturing.
Do you want the return of agricultural prosperity in Kano? Do you want the return of your industries in Kano? Now, do you want the borders open? It is only PDP administration that can implement these 4 key policies. We know exactly what to do to bring Sokoto to the ordinary Nigerian. President Adama is prepared to hit the ground running to provide leadership for this country.
Atiku coming to Kano is not a visitor, he's at home to strengthen relationship.
With the D-Day barely 2 weeks from now, the PDP stakeholders enjoined supporters to continue to reach out to the far corners of the nation to advance the cause for the party's victory.
The presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Mr. Peter Obi, has promised to tackle insecurity and corruption if elected president. Peter Obi was speaking at a rally in Abuja.
A crowd of obedience, as supporters of Peter Obi love to call themselves, cheering on with the hope that good fortunes await the party on February 25. It is a different venue, a different crowd, but the message is the same. Peter Obi promises a new Nigeria with great prospects in agriculture, economy, and education.
The first land in the north where our youths will be engaged and they will be productive. Nigeria will feed itself. Nigeria will be a great nation again. We don't want the excuses again. That is what that year and I are offering you. Join us, support us to fight to build a new Nigeria.
It does not end there. The party hierarchy is urging the obedience to join hands in galvanizing support to build the Nigeria of their dreams.
I tell you something, the meaning of President Peter Obi is that Nigeria has united. We shall stop the killing and start the healing.
The Labour Party says it believes this is a race to the finish line, and where they finish in coming days depends on how many permanent voter cards turn up in their favor.
Let's look at some other issues. We will get to the NNPP shortly, but you've seen some of the campaign messages so far. How would you describe the momentum? It seems as if, especially from the younger generation, there is a lot of excitement this time. We won't see the days when we go on election day and a huge chunk of our youth are playing football.
Oh yes. Speaking from the messages I saw from the campaign ground, I would say the old candidates are preaching hope. There's going to be a renewed hope. The other one said he is preaching for new Nigeria, which is very possible. But the aspect you talked about, the youthful excitement we are seeing right now, I think I'm still going to talk on this, that the youth should calm down, bring in a fiscal analysis, analyze the candidates. We've heard of so many political promises in the past. How many of these candidates have fulfilled what he or she promised? So by the time you come in that aspect, then let's see someone that has kept to his words in the past, someone that has promised us and he did exactly what he said. Because it is easier for everyone to come there and say, we are preaching hope. These are just talks that we've heard for the past years, and Nigeria has never moved forward. You haven't seen we're going backward. So we need someone that can actually drive the country forward. That's what I have to say.
All right, let's quickly move. We'll get one of our stories. We'll come back to the NNPP once we get it. But let's in Taraba State. I understand that voting is underway in the rescheduled rerun APC governorship primary for the state in accordance with INEC guidelines after the Supreme Court's verdict. Our correspondent who is monitoring the exercise taking place in a hotel in Jalingo, says only one aspirant is standing for now, and that is Senator Emmanuel Boacha. This may not come as a surprise to many after Thursday's statement from APC governorship aspirants from that state. Let's take a listen.
Law-abiding Nigerians and loyal party men, we are telling the whole world that we repeat, we will not be part of illegal primary election as scheduled by the National Working Committee of APC under the leadership of Senator Abdullahi Adamu. Nigerians, and indeed every faithful APC member, should know that the flyer for usual flagrant disobedience to court order and lack of internal democracy has beclouded the judgment of individuals whom we have entrusted with leadership.
All right, we'll get a reporter perhaps in the course of this broadcast what is happening out there in Taraba State. We have one of our reporters there monitoring the exercise, and we'll know how it concludes, because of course we understand the accreditation was done and dusted at about 1 o'clock, and right now voting has since commenced. Meanwhile, the presidential candidate of the New Nigeria People's Party, Rabi Musa Kwankwaso, has promised an inclusive government that will bring peace and unity as well as prosperity to Nigeria if elected come February 25, 2023.
The presidential candidate of the NNPP entered the ancient city of Benin and was immediately treated to culture at the airport. Senator Rabi Musa Kwankwaso and his campaign team then proceeded to Lagos Street Market in Benin, where he presented himself to party supporters. At the rally proper, the party stalwart emphasized on some key areas which their government will address. They include free education, revitalizing the economic sector, and ensuring a peaceful atmosphere for farmers to produce the food the nation needs.
Our children will go to school without paying for school fees. He has decided in his own kind of heart for the masses that NACO, JAM, we not go pay for them again.
This party has a lot for women, children, and people living with disabilities.
We appeal to all of us to go back to our words, to go back to our polling booth, to ensure that we vote and defend the vote. And I want to appeal to especially leaders to ensure that each and every one of us delivers his own polling booth.
Flags were presented to the candidates vying for various positions in the zone on the NNPP platform.
In our last insight, stakeholders in the APC in Abak, comprising 5 political blocks in Akwa Ibom, a northwest senatorial district, have declared support for the senatorial aspiration of former Minister of Niger Delta Affairs, Senator Godswill Akpabio.
As the purported resolution by 2018 that about 5 should support a candidate of another political party other than APC and view this greatest decision as an anti-party act that should not be controlled under any rights. 2. As APC members of number 5, we disassociate ourselves from the statement created to that about 5 will support a senatorial candidate of a PDP member in the forthcoming National Assembly election of February 25th, with particular reference to the candidacy of Okada Northwest Central Districts. 3. That we, the stakeholders of number 5, have unanimously resolved to support the distribution of gospel value that the APC stakeholders of number 5, being loyal party men, women, and law-abiding citizens, stand firm in the newly nominated and Supreme Court convened the APC candidate of Okada Northwest Central District, Senator Godswill Akpabio, whom we are certain is a man to beat in the forthcoming election.
All right, it is a season of endorsements, and right now, in another 2 weeks, exactly today, it will just be election eve. What will be your expectation? That's just one of 2 weekends. Of course, a lot of people say perhaps that's a D-Day itself, but there are 2, weekends. We still have the one in March as well for governors and state house of assembly. But we are now at the cusp of history. This is a decision time. You are a youth leader in your state as well, grassroots and all that. Are you taking this message to the grassroots? Or is it just, this what we just get to see in the media? Because many of the times, these people don't bother themselves with newspapers. And so are you taking the message to the grassroots as well?
Oh yes, we've taken the message to most of the villages, those remote villages without internet access and electricity. We've gone to most of the places that even have their roads are motorable, you can not even access it. We're trying to educate them, give them this voters education. You have to understand what's at stake. That is a very critical moment in the history of Nigeria, and we must ensure to vote in a credible candidate that can take Nigeria forward. So we've done that a couple of times, and I can assure you that the people are very wise now. Everybody wants to vote in the right person. There's nothing about my tribe or whatever. Voting person that can move Nigeria forward, that can foster national peace and harmony.
All right. Finally, there's an aspect. We started the program with the issues of political violence as well. Being a youth leader, you would also want to perhaps to bring on board, trying to make sure that we de-incentivize the issue of political violence and using youths as cannon fodder for thuggery.
Well, I would say those things are things of the past, because people are well exposed to the internet, social media. People now see reasons not to engage in any form of electoral violence. That is not a true cause of democracy. Democracy involves free will. Let people go there and vote in whoever you believe in. So nobody wants to go into that direction anymore. Everybody knows who he or she wants to vote for. But what we are saying, and anytime I'm talking, I'm always telling people, please don't vote in by tribe or by age or whatever. Vote in people that you believe in, based on their factual track records, what they've done in the past. They must have held public offices, private sector. What did they do? Were they able to implement policies that moved where they served forward? Because this nation it has a lot of diverse differences, and we can say that this is a country that has over 250 ethnic groups, many languages. We cannot bring in a sectional leader. We have to bring in someone that sees a Yoruba man as his brother, someone that sees an Igbo man as his brother, someone that sees an Hausa man as his brother, just the way it should be. So I believe they are getting the message, and they are ready to play in the part to usher in new government and bring in peace. All
right, Justice Ogwe has been with us for the past half an hour. We've been talking the destiny of states as well as Decision Day and all the different things that are galvanizing people towards the ballot on the 25th of February and, of course, in March as well. As we said, we'll give you updates in the course of the day of things are happening right there in Taraba State APC governorship primary ongoing. But we understand that only one candidate is there for election. A lot of them, of course, decided that they won't be part of the process. That and more we promise you on the program. Of course, we'll return again on Tuesday next week and on Friday. So don't forget to keep your PVCs safe. Play your politics for the greater good and stick with Nigerian Television Authority, Africa's finest, biggest, and the one with credibility for news reviews, previews, and interviews. Bye bye now.
It depends on the velocity of the rain.
This is the network service of the NTA.
It's been a minute, I saw you, and I feel so excited to be back on your screen. Welcome to your favorite entertainment show right here on Nigerian Television Authority, NTA. My name is Simeon Sunday, and of course, I will be here giving you all the latest scoops in the lives of your favorite celebrity, be it hot stories, peppery and spicy stories, sizzling stories. I am your plug for all the juice. So let's get straight into the stories for today right here on Entertainment Gist. And in case you do not know, my name is Simeon Sunday. And of course, let me start with the man they call Machala. Some people call him the Wiz Daddy. Some call him Wiz Lion. Whatever you choose to call him, I'm talking about Wizkid Ayo Balogun. We all know that Wizkid just released a new album, More Love, Less Ego album. And of course, he has been having a tour across the world. So Wizkid actually made an announcement that has gotten the internet on a frenzy. A lot of people have been going crazy since he actually, announced this via his Instagram story. Now, before I get to that main gist, let me tell you that recently Wizkid actually showed the face of his fourth baby. He actually found us worthy enough to show us the face of his baby. Of course, this will be his second child from his talent manager, Jada Pollock. Now to the real scoop about Wizkid. So, we all know that there's been this feud, this quiet, some people call it Cold War, between Wizkid and Davido. Now it seems like the feud will finally be over as Wizkid took to his Instagram stories to announce that after his More Love, Less Ego tour, guess who he will be touring with? He will be touring with Davido. Of course, all Davido fans have been going gagas on the social media space because of this particular announcement. And of course, trust Burna Boy fans to be like, really? Really? If you're supposed to go on the tour, is it not Wizkid Burna Boy? Anyway, you guys should allow those guys rest. I just can't wait to see Davido and Wizkid on a tour together. And away from Davido's and Wizkid's story, now let's move on to the next gist. This one has to do with the Crying Princess. For those of us who actually worked Nollywood back in the day, before the new Nollywood we see now, you will be familiar with one pretty light-skinned lady that can cry a lot. Some people call her Ble Ble. Some call her Nkiru. Anyway, her name is Nkiru Sylvanus. She actually took to her social media page to announce that she is finally taking off the spinster market as she will be getting married to the love of her life. Anyway, she shared the pre-wedding photo shoot on a social media page. And one thing that Nigerians could notice was that she was hiding the face of her man. And people were like, I think this one that you are hiding your husband-to-be's face. What is happening? Anyway, she has actually finally unveiled the face of her husband as the real wedding pictures have been flying around the social space. And people just can't help but notice that the husband is so fine. Oh, anyway, congratulations to the beautiful and delectable Nkiru Sylvanus and her lovely husband. And before we get straight to the trending music videos, now let me talk about Peruzzi. We all know that song where Peruzzi sang this. This is what we all heard. I'm sure you heard it, right? Anyway, people have been, arguing with Peruzzi. Peruzzi took to his social media page to announce that for those of you that heard, if you see the mermaid, you guys heard it wrong. Rather, what he said is